Hey, Don Lemon, you just might be onto something, sir. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about CNN host Don Lemon asking the very interesting question about the Kyle Rittenhouse kerfuffle and the idea of self-defense. Now, we all know what happened last year on that fateful night in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Kyle Rittenhouse was attacked by a mob of people, including one guy who had already been convicted on some really heinous crimes that I won't get into right now, so I digress. The whole point is that he was attacked by people and he had to defend himself. It should be open and shut, right? But unfortunately, it's not because of a few things. First of all, you have a white male armed. That's going to be bad already because of the mainstream media. They look at anybody that's a white male as a demon already, right? Except for Don Lemon in his bedroom. But again, I digress. He's already a white male, already armed, defending himself, used a weapon. And then, of course, you had Black Lives Matter so-called protests happen at the same time. So they say Kyle Rittenhouse is a white supremacist, a racist, a vigilante out there trying to hunt and kill black people, trying to disrupt black people's right to freedom of speech, all this and that and the third. That's what they got from the whole situation, although that was very far from the truth. Now, Don Lemon, to get back to him specifically, he was on air trying to make that whole point, but in his talk, he made a different point that he may not have actually noticed. Now, before I go any further, let's roll that clip. In this clip, you're going to see Don Lemon giving his 2 cents on the whole situation. After we get done with that, I'll come back. I'll talk about everything that was said and done there. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents and to my deep detail analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
There's this theme of white wannabe vigilantism that I think encapsulates both of these trials. And I wonder what you think about, look, laws aside, how is the defense doing aside? What do you think about just this idea that this is something people do, that in some places this is still okay?
Well, it's the same idea as I was saying about the judge. This is okay because people are used to it. This is the ultimate entitlement. That, again, you can insert yourself into a situation with a gun that you're not supposed to be carrying, kill 2 people, injure, and you are made to be a hero by the public. You see someone jogging down the street, and you take it into your hands. You think it's your responsibility to stop that person when you're not even sure if they are committing a crime because, what? It is your street. It is your town. It is your country. It is the ultimate degree of entitlement when people believe that this is how they're supposed to be. What the right is saying about Kyle Rittenhouse is that, well, the government didn't do its job, so it took a 17-year-old kid to come in and do what was right. That's vigilantism. That's not what people are not supposed to be vigilantes. We're not supposed to be taking justice into our own hands. Imagine if every single person in America did that. Imagine if you call for black men or just black folks to be armed and go out in the streets and, do what they think. Justice, take it back. Remember, and what they did to you and slavery, whatever, go and take things and do. Imagine if people were condoning that or just doing that. Will there be a different perception in this country about who should and who shouldn't carry guns? Would our gun laws be different? I certainly think so. So there is a double standard, but it is the ultimate degree of entitlement. This is what I'm supposed to do because this belongs to me, meaning this street, this town, and this country. And I think it's tough for people to hear that, but it is the absolute truth. I don't walk down the street saying, I pay taxes here and therefore no. If I see someone breaking the law, I call the cops. That's what they're there for. It's supposed to be about law and order. This isn't about law and order. This is about unlawful conduct and disorder.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, there's a lot to quote unquote unpack here, as the cool kids would say. And we must unpack it because what they do in the mainstream media, they add so much stuff on top that it's hard to get down to the nitty gritty. First of all, there's no racism here. Kyle Rittenhouse is white, and those who he shot and or had to unfortunately put in the dirt, they were white as well. Nobody of any other race except for white was involved. So where's the racism? I fail to see it. If he's a white supremacist, he's probably the worst one ever, okay? One of the guys that he shot was running around talking about N-word this, N-word that. And again, he had been convicted on some really heinous crimes. So, I mean, if anything, the guy that he shot would be the white supremacist, not Kyle Rittenhouse. Then they want to try to rope in this whole Ahmaud Arbery case, which is a completely unrelated case. Ahmaud Arbery, that's a case where they're trying to say there was a mob of white guys that were attacking and killed a black guy because they thought he ran into a house or something like that. Now, that's totally unrelated. But see, they want to put you in the same mind state of, oh, here's a quote-unquote racist case. And this is the same thing going on with Kyle Rittenhouse. Totally unrelated. The whole race thing is not relevant. The Ahmaud Arbery case is not related. However, Don Lemon did talk about something very interesting that although he probably didn't mean it this way, I agree with it. Hey, what if everybody was able to defend themselves, to defend their block, to defend, I don't know, their home? What if we were able to do that? How about defending our schools? How about not having to rely on the police or the federales or whatever to protect us? Because unlike maybe a Don Lemon, we don't all have armed guards at our beck and call. Okay, we have to be able to protect ourselves. This is the spirit of the Second Amendment. This is the spirit of it. Well-regulated militia, being able to defend yourself, that's what it's for. That is what it's for. Because check it out, Don Lemon. I'm not really sure if you understand this. I'm not really sure where you're from or how you living now, you and your white man. But anyway, if someone breaks in your home and they got a pistol, matter of fact, I saw a video of 4 guys breaking into one home and they appeared to be trained pretty well. You know, you see some of these amateur hour guys with their pistols sideways, like in the gangster movies and rap videos from the late 90s and 2000s. You see guys looking like that, totally unprepared. But there was one situation where guys had their pistols like drawn out right in front of them, straight ahead. You know, they looked like they had been trained. They go into the range, could have been ex-military. 4 guys breaking into a crib. Now, what are you going to do in that situation, huh? But you going to call the police? You can call the police and that's fine. But in the meantime, you got to be able to act right away because they're going to take time to get there. They're not going to just materialize out of nowhere. They can't just teleport from the station to get right to your crib, huh? So it's going to be a while. And you might lose your life in the time it takes for them to get from point A to point B. So you got to defend yourself. It's very simple. And in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse out there during the BLM riots, the police are going to be stretched thin because you have riots and happen all over the place. They might not be able to show up to save a church from being burned down or to save someone who's on the street bleeding out because they've been injured by some shrapnel, by fire, by gunshots or whatever. So Kyle Rittenhouse is out there volunteering to help his community. That's what you should be doing. And what if everybody did that? That's a very good question. I advocate for that. I advocate for lawful carry training of everyone. I don't care what color you are. I don't care where. I don't care nothing about that. You could be big, small, tall, short, fat, black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. It doesn't matter. I do not care. Do things legally and professionally. That's the way it should be because you can't just rely upon the police all the time. Now, I'm not saying the police don't do a good job. Shout out to all the boys and girls in blue. I salute y'all 100%. You see the flag in the background. You already know what it is, police and fire. So I support y'all 100%. But I know that you guys can't be there all the time. We got to be able to protect ourselves. That's just something that's pretty much common sense, Don Lemon. I don't understand where you're really getting at. It's not about being a vigilante. How is putting out a fire at a church when you see it being a vigilante? Okay. And then it's funny because they talk with, out of both sides of their mouth. They will salute a guy like Gage Grayscuts and the dude that got convicted on the heinous crimes. They will salute them because they say that they were trying to disarm an active shooter. Oh, okay. So it's cool when they take matters into their own hands and don't call the police and don't wait for the quote unquote proper authorities to arrive. It's cool when they do that. But when Kyle Rittenhouse tries to put out a fire at a church or defend himself, that's not okay. at the end of it, it's okay to defend yourself. It's okay to defend your community. It's okay to defend your home, to defend your wife, your kids, and everything else. You're supposed to do that. That's why we have the right to bear arms. That's why if a person breaks in your crib and you send them to the upper room by laying them 6 feet in the dirt, you probably won't even go to court. Which is why Kyle Rittenhouse shouldn't even be charged, in my humble opinion. I mean, but they gonna get him on the gun charge. Do you know that the gun charge is a misdemeanor and the max is like 9 months in the penitentiary? Seriously, 9 months. Now, I think the only thing that you would really get a serious gun charge on in Minnesota, or not Minnesota, Wisconsin, would be if you conceal a weapon. But you can't conceal a rifle, can you? I mean, where you gonna put that at? That can't nobody see it. At the end of the day, as I close, shout out to Don Lemon for raising a really good point about people being able to protect themselves, being trained, being armed lawfully. I support that 100%, and I don't care what color they are. Nation of Islam does this. Matter of fact, they have like a security force that they can contract out. And all the guys who are on Don Lemon's level financially and socially, they do that as well. They have their own private security force. So you have black folks that do private security, that are bodyguards, Secret Service or whatever, and a lot of the elites use it. The same elites that say that the commoners should not have guns, they have their own hired guns. So for those of us that can't afford private security, that can't afford a private gun, we have the right to bear arms. We have the right to be trained, and we have the right to defend ourselves and our community with these arms. It's very simple, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think Don Lemon raised a good point? Minus the racism, minus the conflation, when you get down to the core of what he was saying about communities protecting themselves, defending themselves, having the police come out, that's great, but at a certain point, they're not going to be everywhere all the time. They can't just materialize in front of you whenever you want them to be there. But do you agree with that, disagree with that? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I stand. I think Don Lemon was trying to make a point about, I'm not really sure what the whole point was, trying to say that you shouldn't defend yourself and just rely upon the authorities. It's weird because on one breath, they'll say defund the police. We don't need the police. We want more, quote unquote, community-based solutions. Kyle Rittenhouse is a community-based solution. What's the problem? Maybe because he was out there at a time when you didn't want him to be out there. You wanted the other side to just go and burn and loot and whatnot because you support them. I don't understand. So you support some of these so-called BLM protesters burning down black neighborhoods because Black Lives Matter? Make that make sense. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.